I already have one. It told me to do it like this. Let me check and make sure that this is streaming the correct way. I already have one kiln going, so let me change it. I have one kiln going of decals already, so it might be a little bit loud because I have to have my vent running to make sure to get all those fumes and stuff out of there. So today I'm just going to be applying some decals. I got about 21 mugs, a handful of tumblers, and 10 olive oil containers that I'm going to do today, and some flasks. And I try to stick it to about one board of work is kind of what I can fit in a kiln for decals. I don't overload my decal kilns, just because I don't want that. Sometimes when I have too many in there, the heat retention will make the temperature go up too high at the end and kind of wash out some of them. So I kind of just keep it to like 35-40 pieces max in a kiln load. So I usually just plan it to where one board is about how much I'll put in each decal firing. So for this last sale, what I usually will do is I do my sales on Friday, and then I like print out all the orders and how many decals I need of each thing, and I'll go through and I'll print all of them during the weekend and laminate them and cut them out, and then Monday I start applying, and then the decal, after applying them, the decals have to dry for 12 hours just to make sure there's no water pockets or anything in there, and then I'll fire them. And then so basically that whole next week after I do a sale, I'm firing like every day, back to back to back to back, and then I'll pack the previous day's orders, and then everything goes out Friday or Saturday. So I'm just going to start applying some decals. So let me see if I can. Should be able to see any chat that comes up if anybody has questions, but basically they mine print out on 8.5 by 11. Then I cut them down. So this is for a mug. I have this little thing of water. Over here, it's actually I found it in my house when we moved in. My grandpa had a lot of stuff. It's just a tray to a old refrigerator, like a little cheese tray or something. But so I just dip those in there. Off of me a little bit. You can see a little bit better what's going on. I dip those in and I let them sit, and then there's also these little strips that go in by the handle. While until those are ready. Probably should have put those in right when I started talking, and they'd be ready right now. But we're trying this out. So this is the first time I've tried the YouTube. I mean, I've done a test, but this is the first actual live one. And YouTube won't let you use live or use mobile until you have 1,000 subscribers. And since we just started this channel, I had to do a lot of little workarounds. There's an app, you might see the watermark in the corner, Prism Live, that I had to use to basically circumvent that requirement. So I'm going to wait for those to loosen up a little bit and it be able to slide off that decal paper. but this is the lug form that they'll be going on. Everything's pretty much sanded already, so I just have to get it wet and then apply, and then once I fire, they're pretty much ready to ship out. So I try to have everything, other than the flasks I have to put a seal in after I fire them, but pretty much everything is ready to go right out of the kiln for the decal firing. So you can see that probably only took like a minute and a half, or some of the larger ones take a little bit longer, but then it'll just start to slide off that decal backing. So these aren't like reversed. I mean, it looks reversed right now because I'm using my camera and everything's in reverse. Hey Brett, yeah, the chat works good. I mean, I can see your text, so looks like it's working. So yeah, so these just will slide off, and it's not actually in reverse. It looks like it's in reverse here, but it's actually just regular. So then what I'll do is I'll start right at that handle, and then I just put it on there and pull that backing out. Trying to get as little air in there as possible, and then I'll kind of squeeze it like that. See if I can say, can you hear me? But I can't see that. Okay, so then I take this little rubber roller. It's just for screen printing, so it's actually a little speedball rubber roller. And I get all the air out. I usually start like, if that's my center, because that's each end, so this opposite the handle is my center. So I push all of that like halfway, so I don't have to go the whole way around. So I start at the halfway point, and then I flip it and go the other halfway. And then I take a yellow Mud Tools rib, and I do the same thing. I start at that halfway point and just squeegee all that water out of there. So the only one watching right now is Brett, but if anyone has questions on any of this stuff, you can comment on the Patreon post or the Discord page, or message us or anything like that. But some of my lives might be short notice because I have a baby and hectic life right now. So then, I didn't explain what this was. So this is just a t-shirt. It's just like, I found like it's one of the best materials for just making sure like there's no air bubbles. So instead of like putting my finger on there, which will stick and might pull a little chunk of decal off, I just use a t-shirt and I hang it over my shoulder, and then I just squeegee that out, same as the roller and the rubber rib, but it's just all making sure that there's no air bubbles in there, just to double triple check. I just want to make sure. So then I'll lay this little strip right next to that handle, and then I'll mark out where I need to cut it. So I need to cut it there, there, and there, around that, to get around those little contact points. So I just mark it. And then see if I can move this a little bit closer so you can see. Be upside down a little bit, but there. So I have a little mark here. So then I usually just cut it up like that. And then this one usually lines up right on these, like you can see these little lines. It actually works out to where it lines up with these lines pretty well. So I cut out a circle, and then I just go bam, bam, and cut that off like that. So now that goes on underneath that handle like that, and then I'll basically thread that other one through there to get that other piece on. So it's kind of a little weird way I have to do that, but it's like the best way to get it on there without having to like make the whole decal fit around, because like I could print these out to where like it's just one decal and goes all the way around, and I could cut like this one side to kind of fold in and around that handle, but I've found that this is the best method. So then I'll just push it through that hole and then get those little flaps on the top on there, and then on the bottom, make sure everything lines up. Take my rib. I don't go too crazy on these. One, because it's really hard to not make them move a lot, like, so I don't want to like pull it off of where I just aligned it too much. And then two, it's very fragile. Looks like I just had a little piece come off here. Let me see if I can doctor it back in there. So I had a little, during my demonstration here, I kind of took a chip out of this one. So what I'm going to do is try to see if I can get it to get that little chip to go back in there. And if I can't, I'll just have to reprint this decal. Usually, as long as I don't have any like parts that I lose, usually I can get it to go back in there. This one actually came off in two. I think I'm just going to reprint this one. So I don't want to risk that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this part back onto the paper, the sliding paper. I'm going to take this off. And usually what I'll do is I'll dip my next one before I put the next one on. That way there's always one down. So that happens sometimes. It happens less often if I'm not distracted. We're trying to do a video of it or something, but it's not a big deal. Just have to print it. So that's the big benefit of having my own printer. Is I can just go to my office and print a new one. And at some point I'll go through a lot more in depth about decals. I'll probably put a poll up like Brett did yesterday and just see like what you guys are interested in for a first little longer form workshop from me. But I can do a decal or molds or a lot of different things. Making a new form. So now I'm just going to reuse this same strip. Because I already cut it for this mug, so then I only have to print out the new thing. And sometimes I can actually get by with like taking a piece of like if I have like extra of these strips, I can like take a little chunk out that makes it look like a little rust spot and then just put it right over that. That one was like right on the front and part of like a letter. It was like part of that little S on this. So I don't want to do that just because I don't want to have it like right in the front, but adjust this up a little bit so you can see me a little bit better. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I don't have a whole lot of questions unless Brett wants to try to imagine any questions that people will have. But other than that, I'll just keep talking your ear off if you want. I probably won't go too long because this is pretty repetitive. There's not like a whole lot of difference between even the forms, like just like the flasks, there's no strip, it just goes on, but then there's just a little cap decal that goes on the top. But all of these are printed. I got a printer from Enduring Images, probably 2015. So I've had it 6 years now, and I love it. And I get all my materials from like MZ Toner Technology, I think it's called. It's in Germany. But yeah, it's been really great. I've tried a lot of different kinds of printers. How much decal ink do I go through? Quite a bit. I probably spend, let's see, probably spend maybe $1,500 to $2,000 a year on decal ink, decal toner. It's a powder, so it's CMYK. So there's like 4 powder tubes that the printer uses, and you have to order it special from Germany, from that company I just said, MZ Toner. And it comes in, there's different toner sets, but I use the selenium red, lead-free, so it's food safe. Even though I don't put decals on the inside, I still make sure to get the food safe kind. But yeah, I go through quite a bit. I mean, I reorder at least once a year, sometimes a little bit more. And I go through different colors a little bit differently. Yellow I go through a lot because a lot of my decals have like a yellow hue to them because of like the aging look. So when I age it, I actually put a old piece of like yellow tea stained paper, an image of that behind the decal that I create, and you can kind of see that like it's almost this color. It's a little bit less yellow than this, but you can see like the little stains and stuff. So that's all like part of how I age it in Photoshop. I just put that paper behind it, and then I drop the transparency of that top layer, the decal layer, and bring that aging paper through. But because of that, I go through a little bit more yellow than normal than the other colors, because it all kind of has this like yellow aged tone to it, to them, all of my decals. So great question, Brad. So there's another one, Verner's. Your Michigan area should know Verner's. That's for the Artisan's Bench. I'm sending some work over there. It's a little shop. He had me make these ones because the Verner's is popular there. So I'll probably just do one more, and then I'll sign off. So it's about a 20-minute, a little more than 20-minute video. Yeah. Is there any more questions? Looks like we got 3 people on here now. So if anyone has questions, I could keep going too if I keep getting more questions, but I just don't want to bore you with sitting here chatting. This is all information you don't want to know, or if you have different information you'd rather hear. So these decals are fired to like around 018. I actually fire mine a little bit lower, I think, just because my kiln is, the temperature probably isn't, like I didn't offset it correctly, or it's, so mine actually I fire to like 1394. So it's pretty low. But I kept having issues with them losing color and kind of like washing out, and I found that it was firing a little bit too hot, and also, like I mentioned earlier, too much work in the kiln at the same time. And part of that I couldn't figure out if it was off gassing from like all this decal stuff burning off, or if it was that heat retention where it kind of bumped it up and kept it too hot too long and burnt out some of those reds and yellows at that, because those are the ones that burn out first, is the red and yellow. But now I kind of have it down to where I fire to about 1394 or 5 and only do that a certain amount in there. well, like I said before, if you guys have questions on any of this, comment them on the Patreon post or the Discord page and let me know what you think. I'm going to sign off. Thanks, guys and gals.